James Bell, the Boxing Source, here with another video. And this video here is to talk about Josh Warrington, the IBF featherweight champion. He has talked about a potential fight between him and Gary Russell Jr. This has come from an article through Keith Idec of Boxing Scene. Josh Warrington says that, quote, sometimes fighters just get a gut feeling, and sometimes you gotta run with that gut feeling. Just like with the Selby fight, I seen many things where I thought we could expose, and I see it with Gary Russell. You know, he's a great fighter. He's got a lot of speed, but he's there for the taking. He's there for the taking, and he's got a green and gold belt, man, the WBC belt. So I love that fight as a massive scalp. Well, it seems like Mr. Josh Warrington has a little bit of confidence in a potential fight between him and Gary Russell Jr. But my question is, where was all this confidence when he won the IBF Featherweight Championship? See, back in 2018, Josh Warrington fought Lee Selby for that IBF Featherweight Championship, and he was able to get that win in order to become the IBF Featherweight Champion. Later that same day, Gary Russell Jr. fought his mandatory contender, Joseph Diaz, or Jojo Diaz Jr., to defend that WBC belt, and he ended up winning that fight by decision. So Gary Russell Jr. had fulfilled his mandatory defense, and Josh Warrington defeated Lee Selby to become world champion. Well, the thing about that is both of those fights were carried under the banner of Showtime. So Showtime could have been able to make the fight between Gary Russell Jr. and Josh Warrington, but didn't seem like Josh Warrington was really that interested to fight Gary Russell Jr. Then he chose to fight Carl Frampton in his next fight. And then after that, in 2019, you still had an opportunity for Josh Warrington to unify or attempt to unify against Gary Russell Jr. And yet again, he didn't do that. He fought Cade Galahad, who would have been basically the IBF mandatory at that particular time. And in that particular fight, that was a very close fight where Josh Warrington ended up winning by split decision, but there were some that felt that Galahad should have gotten a nod and became the new IBF featherweight champion. Then, after that, Josh Warrington fought Sofyan Takouch to have another defense of that IBF featherweight championship. Now, you go into the year 2020, and the talk then was that Josh Warrington would attempt to unify against WBO featherweight champion Shakur Stevenson. Well, initially, there was talk that Shakur Stevenson was the one that initially declined a matchup between him and Josh Warrington. Now it seems like with the signing that happened with Josh Warrington and Matchroom Boxing, that Josh Warrington pretty much made the move to not face Shakur Stevenson, and on top of that, still not face Gary Russell Jr. Now, it was planned for Josh Warrington to face Can Xu in a quote-unquote unification bout, as Can Xu would be the WBA super champion, and he would be elevated to that super status given that Leo Santa Cruz would end up relinquishing or vacating that super title there at featherweight to move up to pretty much the super featherweight division, as he has the title at super featherweight. So right now the plan is that Josh Warrington is going to fight Kanzu, and that would be billed as a unification bout. But that still does not dispute the fact that he still did not show much interest to fight the WBC featherweight champion, Mr. Gary Russell Jr. So, yet again, this is another instance where Josh Warrington had his chance to unify against the longest reigning champion in the featherweight division, and he didn't. So while he did talk about maybe that Gary Russell is there for the taking, well, if he's there for the taking, then why didn't you take on the challenge of fighting Gary Russell Jr. instead of making this fight with Can Zhu that's planned for the summer of this year? That's pretty much what I got in reference to this particular topic. You can share your thoughts about Josh Warrington and what he said to Keith Eidick, or through the Instagram live that happened with between him and Eddie Hearn. Um, you can subscribe to the Boxing Source on YouTube, or catch the Boxing Source radio show live Sunday 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Blog Talk Radio, or catch the podcast on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Radio Public, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just subscribe. That's all you gotta do. On that note, folks, I'm out. Peace.